share with me and get to know me.
Working within it so that you can trust
You got
them.
to be able to produce things. And I'll tell you why that production is so important. But before we go there, how do you use those two pieces of equipment? And
Success is not necessarily financial, but success is when you feel fulfilled in what you're doing. And then
to other women, they need to know their value, their worth.
But I believe everything that you put your mind to and you achieve, it's success.
Give us all the stuff.
Okay, I'll answer all 16 of those questions right now. I started in the music business at Sony while I was still...
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today we are in for such a treat because today's guest is a dedicated mom, wife, coach, educator, and business owner who truly understands the challenges of balancing multiple roles while neglecting personal well-being. Having experienced burnout, overwhelm, and severe depression from prioritizing everything but self-care, our guest embarked on a transformative wellness journey. This journey, grounded in her concept of disruptive wellness, challenges traditional norms by placing self-care and well-being at the forefront. Our guest envisions a life where optimal well-being aligns with personal and professional responsibilities. Her solution, the Wellness R.E.S.E.T, or R-E-S-E-T, offers a revolutionary approach to regaining balance, allowing individuals to prioritize self-care without sacrificing goals and dreams or relationships. With a commitment to helping others escape the cycle of exhaustion, our guest guides individuals towards a revitalized, focused, and empowered life where they can achieve their full potential. Y'all, put your hands together for our guest, Natalie Mullin.
Thank you for having me here. I've never had an intro like that before. Can you do that for me every day?
I know, right? You deserve it.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, it's so awesome to have you. I can't wait for you to share with us how you got started on this journey. Can you tell us where it all began?
Yeah, I would be happy to. And honestly, for me, I was in a place of life where I was really busy. I was going through the motions. I had a full-time job. I was a wife. I had a side hustle. So I was working 7 days a week. I had a very big social calendar. So I had all the friends and I was attending all the events. And I really felt like I was at the right place in time. Like I was actually really proud of myself. I felt like I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. Right. And look at me, I'm balancing it all. Except that it was a lie, because what I didn't realize is I was so busy focusing on my business, focusing on taking care of everybody else, meeting everybody's needs, that I was completely neglecting myself, but also the main relationship I had, which was with my husband. And it all kind of came to a grinding halt when I hit rock bottom. Out of the blue, he said that he wanted a divorce. And I remember being like, sorry, what word was that? What did you say? I was so confused. I was thinking of all these words that rhyme with divorce, and there's not a lot of them.
No.
And in that moment, I realized that we had drifted apart because I was so busy focusing on taking care of everybody else, doing everything, that I had neglected the relationship that was most important to me.
Right.
And in that bottom, I remember sitting there and being like, well, what was the point? What was the point of working so hard? What was the point of trying to have the business, trying to have my own job, trying to do all of these things, trying to do networking, if I was going to lose what was most important to me?
Right.
And so I kind of sat in that hole. That I went into a deep depression, and eventually I remember talking to one of my friends about it. She said, you have to pull yourself out of this. You can't stay in this hole forever.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I don't like, what do I even do when you're depressed? Like you don't even want to keep going, right? You just want to give
Right.
up.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to pull myself out of this. I did therapy, and of course therapy was helpful, but then I needed something after therapy. I needed forward momentum. I understood the past now, but I was like, how do we move forward? And so that's how my wellness journey began. And really looking at wellness from a holistic perspective, because I knew that if I was going to be able to kind of rebuild my life again, I couldn't do it keeping all these parts of my life together. My school life is different from my work life, is different from my business. Everything was integrated: spirituality, finances, careers, what I was eating. And so I said, I have to do this holistically. And so I started my own holistic wellness journey. And that's kind of really how I came into this space. And I really made a transformation. And I got to a point of being able to balance my time and being able to prioritize my own well-being, my own self-care, set boundaries, say no to things. And because I set up a new framework for how I was going to live my life, I was actually able to thankfully have my marriage restored. But not only my marriage restored, my relationship with my own self and my own identity was restored. And now I'm just passionate about helping other women who might be in similar situations to get unstuck, find that clarity, and find a way forward in life.
Wow. Wow. That is so good. You have no idea how happy I am to hear, number one, that your marriage was restored. Your story is so relatable. There are so many women who can relate to trying to be all the things, all the wife, the mom, have the job, have the side hustle, network with every, organization, in town, or, and still have friends. And, if you have children, I mean, the whole nine. There's so many things pulling at us and vying for our time. And we think, like you said, I got this, it's all good, everything's good. But then, when you got that reality check and your husband was like, hey, I'm out, that is like one of the worst reality checks, but a check nonetheless that did eventually work out for good, because it helped you take a closer look at what can I do differently? What do I need to do differently? Because this relationship is the most important relationship. And so you put in the work. Congratulations to you for that, because not everybody will put in the work. They'll be like, all right, peace out. And that's like, no, that's not the answer. You want your marriage, especially if you got a good man, you don't want him going anywhere. And so you put in the work. You did what you had to do to figure out what needs to be different. What do you need to do differently? And I love that you said you started saying no. Just say no more and be okay with saying no more. There's nothing wrong with the word no. And I think that more women, especially entrepreneurs, need to be okay with no, because not everything is for you. Not everything is good for you. Not everything is good for your business, and not everything is good for your relationships or your health. So I love that. I think that is some golden nuggets. Just, be okay with no. So as we move on to our next question, though, you mentioned something about disruptive wellness. And what inspired you to develop the concept of disruptive wellness? And I put that in air quotes for those that are just listening only. But you also from that created the Wellness R.E.S.E.T approach. And R.E.S.E.T is an acronym, R-E-S-E-T. What does that stand for?
Yeah, so I'll answer both separately. So the first one is about disruptive wellness, and disruptive wellness is all about pushing back on society's narrative and expectation of how you should engage in wellness. What does wellness look like for you? When you go on social media, there's certain ideas of what wellness is. For some people, for a lot of people, it's yoga. For some people, it might be moving your body in a certain way, or eating organic or gluten-free food, or maybe it's being on retreats and in nature all the time. And all of those can be parts of wellness, but wellness has to be what is going to fulfill you, what is going to be meaningful for you. So if you like to eat organic, but I don't like to eat it, and I start to do it, then it's not contributing to my overall well-being, because not in alignment for me. So when we
Right.
think about disruptive wellness, it's like, what are we doing that's in alignment for the kind of life that we actually want for ourselves? So we're not doing something because a doctor said, because society said. We're doing it because we feel from the inside out, this is what would contribute to our overall well-being. And sometimes in disruptive wellness, you have to make choices, like say no, or cut off toxic people, or toxic relationships, or walk away from things that are no longer serving you. And society would say, no, 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 keep holding on, do everything for everybody else. But disruptive wellness is about putting yourself first and recognizing, not from a selfish place, but if you can pour into yourself, if you can fill your own cup, you can actually serve more people from the overflow, right? We hear that term all the time, don't pour from an empty cup. This is on one side, but on the other side, if your cup is not empty, how do we get it full? So disruptive wellness is, what do we do? What are the practices we can engage in to fill our cups so we can feel fulfilled, so that we can feel aligned, and that we can feel that we can thrive? And this is where the wellness reset comes in. And so when we think of the wellness reset, this was really an approach that I do in a framework that I created with my clients and with my students, when they would say, well, how can I fill my cup? And so you have to kind of start again and think, well, let's start with R. R is for reflect and realign. So in this first step, we're thinking of self-discovery, because you cannot go somewhere if you don't even understand where you're at right now. So you really need to understand, what are your core passions, your core values? Who am I? Where am I at in my wellness right now? Okay, then the E is for embracing self-care and something I call joy care. We need to do things that are deeply aligned within us, that are going to bring us joy, that are going to bring us energy, that are going to light us up. So many women, especially if they're moms and wives, and if they're business owners, it's just another layer of responsibility. They feel like they don't even have time to be joyful. Sometimes I'll tell my clients, what do you do for joy? I'll ask them, and they'll look at me and they'll say, joy, self-care, when do I have time for that?
Right.
And so a lot of them are like, self-care, I don't have time for that. My time is with the kids, my time is with my clients, my time is with my husband, my time is with my work. Or if I say joy care, they're like, I don't even remember the last time I was joyful. I'm just trying to get from the morning to the night. So we really have to be intentional, though, about slowing down and seeing, how can we incorporate into our lifestyles some moments of joy? Because I do believe that we were all created to live abundantly and to have a joyful life. But we need to figure out what is blocking us from accessing that. Okay. And then the third step is S, and this is all about shifting your mindset. We have a lot of limiting beliefs in our mind. We have a lot of negative self-talk that we've been telling ourselves year after year. And it's actually things that we are programmed to believe from when we were children, right? We have our parents or people in the community, our family members, etc., who just say things to us, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Sometimes we're just listening as children, because children are always listening. And they just started to absorb and receive messages. And they also just see what is happening around them, and they take that to be truth. And so this becomes your framework for how you perceive the world and how you go about limiting the world, or sorry, how you go about living in the world. But a lot of times these beliefs are holding you back. Very common ones are like, people feel like they're not good enough, or that they're not deserving of good, or nothing ever works out for them, so why try? Or that they have to work super hard in life and be better than anybody else. right? These are messages that are programmed in us from younger. And so we have to identify those limiting beliefs and figure out how can we shift our mindset? How can we separate the lie from the truth so that we can really go forward with a clear mind and a focused mind that is aligned with where we want to go. Then the next E is for effective systems. And this is all about your management of yourself in terms of your time and your energy. And a lot of people talk about productivity in terms of time, but sometimes they talk about it because they're trying to do more things. Like, oh, how can I be more productive with my schedule so that I can get even more done? And I'm like, this is not the goal. How can we be more productive so we can have more time for ourselves to rest?
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
to slow down and do nothing. Like, let that be the goal. So we have to think about how is our energy being drained? How is our energy being depleted, especially by things that we don't want to do? And how can we outsource? How can we delegate? How can we get support from other people to help us manage our time and our energy so that we can be not just more productive, but be more joyful, be more aligned with who we want to be. And then the T is for transformation. So after you've gone through all of these steps, it's like, how do we put it all together? Because we want to thrive. We want to be transformed. We don't want to just take in information every day, listen to it, and then we don't see a change in our life, right? It's like going to a workshop, going to a conference, and you're like, oh, I learned all of this great stuff. And then you go to church, you hear a great message, and then you come home and nothing changes. But we are about transformation. How do you put the information you're learning into practice? How do you embody it? How do you live it out? Even if it's just one small step at a time, because this is what is going to allow for meaningful transformation over time. And that's when we bring it all together. We figure out this is the roadmap going forward. And that is what gets you on your plan. So that is what the Wellness Reset's all about.
Wow. 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 Just wow. That is so good. So good. Just the idea of each of those aspects, reflecting and realigning, embracing self-care, shifting our mindset, effective systems, transformation. All of these things are so powerful in and of themselves. Like one, if you do one, I mean, that in itself is powerful. But to put them all together, I mean, that is truly life-changing and life-impacting, and not just your own, but every life that you impact. It's going to, have an effect on them as well. And one of the things you said about productivity, when people think of productivity, they think about how to adjust their schedule so that they can put more things in. Whereas it's just as important to be more efficient in how you do things so that you can build in time for yourself, so that you can rest, so that you can rejuvenate, so that you can get your second win, in a structured and a way that makes sense, that's intentional, that you are here only to rest. And when you said that, I was like, okay, but we have to be okay with resting, and being okay with quiet time, and being okay in silence, and being okay and not feeling guilty, like we should be doing something when we are doing nothing on purpose. That to me, it really, really resonates, because that's one of the things I think I need to work on. Because when I am sitting doing nothing, I'm like, oh my God, I should totally be doing something right now. There's absolutely no reason for me just to be sitting here when I have this to do, and I have that to do, and I have this, and I have that. And, so it's, I'm speaking to myself here when I'm saying to our audience that it is okay to do nothing for a time on purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's needed and it's healthy. So do it. And do it more often.
Absolutely.
So do you find that you get much resistance when you're in your account and you're doing your coaching, that there is, like with me, that there's the resistance to this idea and these concepts?
I find, yes, definitely a lot. And especially when I'm working with Black women in particular. And I think that this is because of a lot of how Black women grew up, and it's what they observed as children. If you grew up with a mom, a grandma, an auntie that was always doing this, frames your idea of how you should also kind of engage in work. And so I know when I look at my mom, my aunts, it's like even if you go to like a family gathering, it's just kind of funny, but you would see all of the, all of my elders, so all of that generation, they're always doing something. They're always in the kitchen, like they don't just sit and just talk. They're always busy. Whereas when I was younger, my cousins and I, we would be off and we would be playing. And I remember being like, how come they're not just sitting and talking to each other? And so I think a lot of times we have to give her, and also there's a lot of work to do sometimes. Some people don't have a lot of support. Some people are maybe the sole care provider in their home, and a lot falls on their plate, right? So then they might be like, well, how can I sit and do nothing? Like, work needs to be done. There's laundry, there's cooking, there's cleaning, there's emails, there's social media, there's all of these things to do. And so I understand that. And it's going to be different for each person in terms of what they are actually able to release off of their plate. But I think it still starts for everybody with the mindset. Are you even okay with giving yourself rest? Are you okay with believing that you are deserving of rest? Because some people feel they don't even deserve it. But you have to believe that you are deserving of it and that you were created for rest to be a part of your life, and for joy to be a part of your life, and for slowness to be a part of your life. I think we're operating in these days as if we're machines. We're going, and we're not cars, we're not machines. And so we are kind of pushing ourselves too far. This is why we have so many people who are facing burnout, who are facing depression, who are turning to substance abuse, who have illnesses in their body, health issues. This is all because you're pushing yourself too far. So rest is it's not about laziness. I'm not saying sit there and, just be like, well, I refuse to do any work, and coming kind of from a negative space. Rest is restorative. So you have to think about it. It's like, I am intentionally taking this time to pause so that I can restore myself, so that when I go back to do whatever the work is I have to do, whatever the task is I can do, I am doing it from a place with more energy, more joy, and just more peace of mind and clarity. Sometimes when you keep pushing, there is no opportunity for you to be creative, for you to think of new ideas, because you're just running yourself ragged. So you're just doing whatever the first thing is that comes to you, and you're like, okay, let me just go do it. But just even the period of a sabbatical, right? Like, the point of a sabbatical is to rest, to clear your mind, so that when you come back refreshed. It's the same like when we go on vacation. If you can actually take the vacation, when you come back, you usually have like clarity of mind, and you're like, oh, I got this new download in my brain, or I have this new idea, because you just allowed space. And when you allow space, then you can receive. So if you have a hard time thinking about rest, then I would encourage you to think about rest in that way. It is for your benefit. It is beneficial, and only good can come back from it. And you can be in charge of how long you're going to rest for, but you definitely should incorporate it, because naturally we need rest.
Right. And I love that you are mentioning how important it is, because as entrepreneurs and moms, and whether we're solopreneurs or business owners with people that on our team, it can sometimes be a challenge to prioritize self-care and your own personal wellness over these things. So when you're working in your coaching, would you recommend that there be like a daily thing? Because I know you said that we can pick our own time and how much time, but should it be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly? What do you recommend?
Yeah, ideally daily, but it doesn't need to be taking an hour or 2 hours off to do something, because that might not be realistic for your lifestyle. You've got to figure out what is going to be realistic for you, right? But I think every day, if you can do something for yourself, and I always like to tell my clients, because I always have those clients like, no, it's not possible based on my lifestyle. And I'm like, there's always a way. Sometimes you have to combine things together. So maybe a regular habit or routine that you normally do, such as dropping the kids to school, right? Maybe that is something you always have to do, and your day is very packed. While you're dropping the kids to school, can you be listening to a podcast such as this one that is restorative and encouraging for you, and you just get that time to yourself, and you tell the kids, mommy's not talking right now. I'm going to listen to the podcast as I'm dropping you, or on the way back from, right? When the car is empty, then you can take that time for yourself, and maybe you're drinking a chai latte or whatever your drink is that you're going to enjoy. And as you're going back home or going to work, that's the time for yourself. It wasn't anything like sitting and getting a massage for an hour, but it was still 10, 15, whatever amount of minutes that you could just take time for yourself, pour back into yourself, and kind of meet your needs. So think about but self-care is all about the intentional. It just has to be intentional. It's something that you chose to do for yourself. Because you might think, oh, well, drinking the tea is just drinking the tea. I'm thirsty. But if you tell yourself, I'm drinking this tea as a treat for myself because I truly enjoy this kind of tea, and I'm going to make this an intentional, mindful moment between myself and the tea, then you've now changed the intention of the act. And so now this has become an act of self-care instead of just drinking tea. So intention is very, very key. And also, as I said, there's self-care, there's also joy care. So what are the things that you can do that light you up? Because I don't think we think about joy enough, right? We think about self-care, and self-care can be a lot of things. It could be rest. It could be a massage. It could be getting your hair done. Again, it's going to be different for other people. But do those things light you up? Do they make you smile deep within? When I think of things for joy care for myself, I think of traveling. I just love to travel. I think of dancing. I think of eating good food. Oh man, oh man. See, I knew we were kindred spirits. Right? Do you make time for those things though? Those things that truly are going to excite you. And you might not be able to do that every single day. But even planning for it. Like I'm going on a trip in December, but I'm already planning for it. Okay, this is what I'm going to do on the trip. These are the places I'm going to go. These are the activities I'm going to do. So I can start to embody that joy care from now. And then when I get there, I am going to fully embrace it. I already envision myself saying on my social media, sorry, won't be available for the next week. I'm not doing a podcast recording that week. I'm just taking the full time off so I can fully be present in that experience of joy. And I think sometimes we're trying to multitask. So it's like we're on vacation, but we're still typing. We're still checking emails. We're still connected to everybody. So then we come back and we don't even feel like we got a true break. And technology is not in our favor in that way. Technology, bling, bling, but we've got to turn off those notifications. How do we pull away? Set up an autoresponder. See you in a week. I'll be back, like what are you going to do to detach? But the choice is up to us. We do have the choice. It's just, we don't often put ourselves first and realize I can choose this time for myself. And you mentioned it before. It's about that guilt. And so we really have to reframe our thinking. And sometimes you have to do deep work to really untangle, well, where does that guilt come from? And is it true or is it a lie?
Right. And more times than not, it's a lie that we have been taught and don't even realize, these, the lies that we've been told and how our lives are now based on, or we do things out of this place and we don't even know, why. And it's not even our own truth. It can be different for us. And the change has to start with us. And so, because it could be a generational thing that has been happening over and over and over and over and over again. Like you were saying at the family reunion, the aunts, the aunties, the moms and grandmas, they're all busy doing something. This is a generational mindset, but the chain has to break with you as the female entrepreneur that you are, business owner, boss mom, hustler that you are. It can all still be done, but with balance and self-care mixed in, and it be okay, and it totally be okay. So I think that is absolutely fantastic, and the impact that it will have on your business. As an entrepreneur, when you are taking care of yourself and you build in time for not only your self-care time, but your joy care time, and you come back, you get so many ideas when your mind is at rest, or just open and free and not cluttered with a bunch of things. And so when you get these ideas, you can say, write them down in a book, or write them down. They take a note on the phone or whatever, in the phone with no notifications on.
Exactly.
You can still take notes, so that when you come back, you got all these great ideas that you can now, flesh out and put on a board, and maybe, prioritize to build the business, or whatever it takes, or whatever those thoughts are. But they become more clear in a time of rest, or in a time, or in a place of peace that you intentionally take full advantage of by disconnecting, by, like you said, I'm turning off the notifications. I'm putting out the auto responder that says, "Oh, sorry, gone on vacation. Can't get back to you for a couple of weeks. Leave a message." All
and
of
give
that.
yourself that permission. And also too, and I just want to add this, because I know I work with a lot of people, and everybody has a different situation. So sometimes you have to sit and you have to really understand what is that person's specific lived situation, and what can we do to tweak it, right? Because not everybody can easily do certain things. But also think too, if you can't do it all, who can you bring on to support you? Can you bring on and you have a virtual assistant business, so this was not a plug. This is not a planned plug, but it's
Hey, I don't mind.
Example. It's a perfect example. If you're a solopreneur, or even if you're an entrepreneur, and you just feel like you need more assistance, sometimes you're just doing too much on your own, and there does come a point where you're like, wait, I can get support. I can build out a team. The easiest way is to start with a virtual assistant, because it doesn't have to be a full-time commitment. You can kind of scale those hours based on what you need. But I find that when I have clients, and even other colleagues that are entrepreneurs too, it's like someone just took a huge heavy box from them. As soon as they get a virtual assistant, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad. And the thing is, usually they get the assistants to help them with the work that they don't really want to do. The work that for them is not that important in terms of their brain, but it needs to be done. So it's things that need to be done for the business. But you, as a business owner, you want to be using your creativity of how do you move the business forward. And we always hear this complaint from entrepreneurs. They say, I don't have time to work on the business because I'm always working in the business. So you need to be able to step back. And so in order to step back, if you bring other people onto your team, whether a virtual assistant, whether you hire employees, even in your family life, when you think about the team too, if you have a partner, get them to do some more work. You would be surprised to know how many women, moms, wives, they don't even ask their partner for help. I had a client who has 2 young children, 2 under 2, right? So she's busy. And she was just saying she doesn't have time for the self-care. And I said to her, well, have you asked your husband to help out more? And she said, no. And I said, well, why not? And she's like, well, I just kind of feel like it's my responsibility as the mom. Like, I should be taking care of the home. And I said, well, you have this idea from somewhere. You've been conditioned to think that way. And I said, I just want you to ask him. Just ask him if he wouldn't mind taking the kids for the morning once a week so you could just do some self-care. She really wanted to do swimming. That's what was going to bring her joy. She wanted to swim. She used to be an athlete. And she asked her husband, and he was like, yeah, sure. And it was as simple as that. And so he started taking the kids. She went swimming. A few weeks later, she sent me a message and she said, you'll never believe it, but he actually said thank you to me. He said he's so happy he gets extra time now with the kids. That's just daddy and the children. He said he feels like he gets to be a better parent, and he just never had the opportunity before. So she was actually holding him back from getting to spend more time with the kids because they just never had the conversation. So you just need to ask for support, put it out there. What do you need?
That's
and who will help you. Like, sometimes friends are willing to babysit, but you never ask them. You never ask them, right? Sometimes people are willing to help you paint a wall or help you, I don't know, whatever you need help with. Like, just ask. You've got to put it out there and ask. And if th're not willing, then you hire. Okay? Because people are always willing to take your money.
Exactly. And I just love how you incorporate asking for support as a critical component of your self-care and business development, even because it definitely resonates with me as the owner of Executive Help Now and a virtual assistant service. And that's exactly what we do. We provide virtual administrative support to small businesses and senior level executives or solopreneurs and entrepreneurs who just need an extra set of hands. One of our clients who recently joined us, she's been a solopreneur the whole entire time that she's owned the business. She's never brought on any help. And so she's been doing everything by herself. And it's overwhelming to try to grow the business and do all the admin stuff, the paperwork, the payroll, the just all of the things that are required, scheduling the meetings, finding the leads, following up with the leads. I mean, just so much. And so when she brought us on, I actually reached out to her on LinkedIn and we made a connection, decided to do business together. And within a week, she was like, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe how much better I feel just for this one event, this one thing to be taken off my plate. This was so much for me that I didn't want to do. It had to be done. And now I've handed it over to you and your team, and I don't have to do it. And it feels amazing. And tears were like welling up in her eyes that she now did not have to do it all. And she was okay with now that new reality that she does not have to do it all. And we're still working together and taking more and more things off of her plate. And she is an amazing client. And my life has been blessed by being able to be a blessing to her. So, and our whole team, because she's an amazing client. It's really a great fit. And so to be able to do that for others, we're like that husband who wants an opportunity to take things off of your plate, to make your life better. And I'm so happy for your client who just asked the question, will you help me? Can you take the kids? And now he's all like, thanks. Now, we get daddy and kiddo time, and it's amazing. And it's just so beneficial for everyone all the way around. And further to that, as a single mom, when I was a single mom raising my two sons, I put my kids to work, and that may be old school or whatever, but I was like, look, y'all, I'm one person and I work a full-time job trying to take care of you. You can clean your rooms. You can sort your clothes. You can put the dishes in the dishwasher. They may have been 7, but still they can help. They know how to do things, and they need to learn skills. These are life skills. They need to know these things. And even if it does take a little bit of guidance and direction or whatever, and it may take a little bit of time at first, before you know it, they will be stuck in a dishwasher better than you ever could. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it just helps so much.
And you are also empowering them to be able to do things for themselves. So that can never be a bad thing. I'm also a teacher. And so with my students, I'm like, the goal is not for me to do everything for you. How can you learn to do things for yourself? And the more that we equip, especially with young people, the more we equip them to be able to do things for themselves. These are skills. These are the foundational skills that they're going to learn when they get older. And also they're going to realize, like, I don't have to ask for help. I don't have to always get people to do things for me. I know how to do it myself, right? Like I've known of some parents who were still doing their kids' laundry, and their kids are actually all the way gone to university. And the kids are coming home doing the and I'm like, I also have friends I remember in university who literally had never touched the washing machine. They didn't know how to open it. They didn't know how to do their clothes because it had always been done for them. And bless the mom's heart who's thinking she's doing their child a benefit. But no, because eventually that child has to live on their own. And now they're like, I don't know what to do. It's going to take them longer to learn it, because the older you get, the longer it takes you to learn new things. Right. And also they're just so resistant because it's been done for them the whole time before too. So sometimes we're taking on more and we're thinking like it's a part of our duty, but sometimes we are taking away the opportunity for the people who are trying to help to learn from us. So even as parents, it's like, get them involved in the cooking, the cleaning,
Absolutely.
all the house chores, because they are a member of
Absolutely.
the home. They contribute to, if
That's
they're
right.
eating the food, they can help make the food, or they can help, like, and you do it age appropriate, right? Obviously, I'm not going to make my 3-year-old be cooking a casserole, right? But he can be learning to clean up his own mess. The same cards that he throws, and I'm pointing because, you know, the living room's there and I have a 2-year-old. And the same flashcards that he's throwing all over the place, we have a cleanup song. And he's got to put those flashcards all back into the box because I did not make the mess. And I'm teaching him, right? And then eventually I can walk away and I'm like, oh, he's cleaning up on his own. I can now be doing whatever I'm doing. I don't have to be stressed and kind of doing it all. So get them 100%, get the kids involved.
Absolutely. I think my kids were like the same, 2 and 3 years old, putting their toys away by themselves because they knew where their toy box was and they knew that the toys. And I also, and I know this has nothing to do with business. This is all about being a single mom, which we have a lot of single mom business owners. And so maybe that's why I'm prompted to talk about this. But so many parents at the time would let their children put toys all over the house. Like there would be toys everywhere, in the living room, in the dining room, in the kitchen, in their bedroom, all over, toys everywhere. No, in my house, I'm a single mom, and your toys are going to stay in your room. You won't be bringing your toys out and spreading them all over the house. They stay in your room. Or there's a dedicated playroom where the toys stay. They don't go all over the house. And, you know,
and that's why it's important though to know what's important to you, right? And do what's gonna work for you. Like if that works for your household or for somebody else's household, they want things all over the place. Well, hey, like I'm not gonna judge you, but is it bringing you joy? Like, so, and is it contributing to the overall well-being of not just yourself now, but the family well-being, the collective well-being? So it's just about thinking it through, and whatever you decide that works for you and your family, kudos to you. But just being intentional about what are you doing to contribute to the collective well-being, that everybody feels joyful, everybody feels safe, everybody feels that they can show up and thrive and feel a sense of belonging, feel a sense of connection to purpose.
Absolutely. I love that. I don't think there's any better way to wrap up this segment than that, because that is so true. That is the ultimate goal. Whatever works for your family, whatever is going to contribute to your family and its well-being and everyone's ability to thrive. That is what is key and what's most important. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, your brilliance on this subject matter, because we all need a reset. We all need to be well, personally, physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that, so that we can be amazing business owners and be our absolute best selves to our business partners, to our life partners, to our children, and everywhere we need to show up. This is how we do it. So thank you so much, Natalie. I truly appreciate you so much. And it's been an absolute joy having you on today's show.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful to be here. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, my website's Natalie Mullin. There's not a lot of us. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever. I'd be happy to talk and see if you need support in your life and trying to figure out, I feel stuck, I feel at a crossroads. I'm happy to talk to you and think about how you can create your own personalized wellness plan.
Yes, so absolutely. Yes, please give us all your socials. We definitely want to stay in touch.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, on Instagram, at
Natalie Mullin. We have LinkedIn is at Natalie Mullin again as well. The website is nataliemullin.com. And on my bio site, you can actually download your own free wellness assessment. And this is a really good way to just get started, right? So that third one, just wellness assessment, do your own wellness assessment audit. Just check in with yourself. It only takes 5 minutes. And you can kind of get a sense of where am I at right now? What areas am I low in? And that's a good place to start in terms of moving forward on your own wellness journey.
Awesome. Awesome. And also, I cannot let this show end without you telling us what's next. What's next for you, Natalie?
Oh, so many things. I'm an ambitious person. I'm just so excited for the future. So in the immediate future, I have a couple workshops coming up. I'm really excited to be doing a workshop on limiting beliefs. So this is with a group of girls in Uganda. So I am so excited to kind of be doing this work. I have a workshop coming up in October working with a group of melanated mamas. So I'm so excited about them and just pouring back into their self-care. I'm hoping to have some more workshops of my own coming up as well. I still work in my podcast. It's called From a Full Cup. So if anybody wants to check that out, they can. It's all about mental wellness and mindset for women. So yeah,
and
just
it's
stay
amazing.
tuned.
And thank you for having me on your show.
Yes, it is coming out. It's coming out, but that was such a good conversation. So I can't wait for everyone to hear the conversation that we had, the episode that we did together. But yeah, I'm just excited to kind of see where the journey takes me. And I'm excited to continue to just meet awesome people like yourself along the way. It's been great.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Natalie. It has truly been a pleasure, been an honor. I'm so glad that our paths have crossed and we are now getting to do life together. So thanks again.
Definitely.
And thank you. I appreciate you. And if you have no parting words, I think that's going to do it for us today.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.